Good morning, down at Right Nice Places. And what a right nice day it is as well today. It's 9 o'clock on a very sunny but quite nippy Tuesday morning, and today I've got a bit of a treat for you. I thought I would take you to my favourite mountain of all time, the wonderful Moel Siabod, and that's where I'm going to take you today. So I'm just going to load up the car, get the rucksack in there, more important to get my brew on, and then I'm going to be taking you to Moel Siabod. Yeah, so it's going to take me about 55 minutes to drive there from here. We're going to be heading to Capel, Curig, where I'm going to be starting going up Moel Siabod. So grab yourself a brew, sit yourselves down and enjoy the trip up my favourite mountain. I'll speak to you in a second. So my hoff pentref ach hoff Minoedd. So welcome to my favourite right nice place, my favourite village in all of Snowdonia, Capel Curig, and also my favourite mountain, Moel Siabod, which is what we're going to be doing today. So Moel Siabod, my favourite mountain. Where do you start? Well, you start in the village of Capel Curig, which truly is the heart of Snowdonia. Capel Curig, or Curig's Chapel, is a beautiful place and it's been inhabited for some time. I mean, the road that you start on, if you're going to do the route that I'm doing today, is actually the old Roman road. So the Romans used to use Siabod as a bit of a way marker when passing through Snowdonia, and they built this wonderful road that I'm now walking on. This road goes all the way to Rhos, but today we're going to be coming off this road in just a second and heading straight up Siabod. And today's route is going to take us up the 3D sort of scramble to the summit, and then I'm going to come down the other side of the mountain towards Breyn mountain climbing school. The reason I'm taking this route today is I want to give you a full 360 of the mountain. And this side that I'm going up now, you're going to get awesome views of Dolwyfellen, Blaenau-Ffestiniog, the rest of the Moel Wings, and going towards Barmouth. And then on the other side, when we get up there, you're going to see the most magnificent views of the 15 highest mountains in Wales. But for now, we start this route by going up this horrendously steep farmer's track. So in a couple of minutes, no doubt, you're going to hear me blowing out of my arse and panting very much. Now, it's a beautiful day, but it is only 7 degrees, but I know how sweaty I'm about to get. God, that's a wide cattle grid. How sweaty I'm about to get up this little path in a second, leading past the farm. So if you are going to do this route and you want to know the route that I'm following, before I carry on rambling, here's the map. So starting from Bryn car park today, I went straight up past Rhos farm and up to the old disused quarries, or the Rhos quarry, before continuing up. Now when I get to the next lake, keep as right as you can like I have on this path, otherwise you are just traipsing through bog. Then you're going to go straight up this ridge. Now today the wind was atrocious, so I dropped slightly to the left of that main ridge before hitting the summit. I had a nice long lunch of carbonara, and then I returned down what I call the Breyn route. It's a pretty direct path that takes you straight to the mountain training school, Breyn. You get awesome views of Llynau Mumba, as well as the Glidderau, the Carnethau, and of course Wither, before taking a really easy forest track all the way back through until you start reaching your way back to the car park at Bryn. So if you want to do Moel Siabod, then the place you need to start is my favourite village, Capel Curig, a place I used to get to call home before I moved to Barmouth, and a place I think I'll always be eternally grateful to being allowed to be part of that community. Sorry I'm a little bit out of breath, but if you take the route that I've taken today, the path starts damn steep. It levels out in 100 metres or so, but this initial ascent, whew, gets the thighs going, gets the blood pumping. But yeah, if you're going to do Moel Siabod, you need to start in Capel Curig. Parking wise, you've got two choices. If you're here early enough, like I was today, then you can get in a lay-by. If the lay-bys are full, carry on driving to Joe Brown's mountaineering shop, and there's a pay and display car park behind there. Whew, this hill Such a little heartbreak ridge. So once you've got up that initial little bit of a hill, and it is a steep start, it is, when you come up this side of Siabod. Well, all sides of Siabod are steep. It's a big old beast, really, Siabod. It's by no means the highest in Wales. I think it's number 15 in the highest in Wales list. But it is a steep-sided little bugger. But it's a beautiful bugger. This is my favourite mountain, so really pleased to share this with you today. But when you come up this way, you'll walk up this track, you'll come past these holiday cottages, Siabod cottages, and behind me you might just be able to see a farm. It is a working farm on Siabod. Pretty much all the land is the farmers, so plenty of sheep and animals about. So if you are bringing the pooch, then keep them on the lead, especially if you're coming up this route. Struggled over that style more than I should have done, probably. But yeah, I mean, Max isn't with me today. He has done Siabod a good few times because we used to live in Capel, Curig, and this was my go-to walk. And in a minute I'll show you my house that I used to live in, because you can see it as we walk up the hill. But yeah, Siabod. How to pronounce it, first of all? Well, it's spelled Siabod, Moel Siabod. Moel just means bare or bald in Welsh. Siabod is the hill, so just a bald hill or a bare hill is what we're going up today. So, you know, I'm Moel Dan, for instance. But anyway, going up Siabod, it's a beast of a hill, as you can probably tell by the way I'm breathing walking up this beginning path. But I'm going to spin the camera now, because there's your first view of where we're going. That peak up there, and the peak you can see is not actually the summit of Siabod. That's a false summit. The summit is just behind it, which you'll see when we get up there. Whew. And the hat might have to come off in a minute. And there's my old house, just down there in the trees, the Tinnacoid, which is the local village pub. I used to be the landlord there before we moved to Capel, Curig. So yeah, so that's my old home. In the heart, the true heart of Snowdonia, is definitely Capel, Curig. So yeah, hardly very far up at all, a couple of 100 metres, not even that, 100 metres. And the views on this walk, if you come on a clear day, which is the whole reason I've picked it today, because Siabod offers, for me, the best views in Snowdonia from the top of it. Now, I did say when I was up Bryn last week that it does come close to rivaling Siabod, but it just, you forget how good it is here. Like, if I just, behind me now, you can see the Crimpy Eye there, which isn't a mountain, but it feels like a mountain. Beyond that, you can see the Slippery Witch and the Carneth Eye, which are massive mountains. They're only 20 metres shorter than Snowdon. You can see the Glitter Eye over here, and then behind me now you can see the peak, or the false peak of Siabod. It's just wonderful. Just really, really wonderful views. And if I'm honest, there's two ways up Siabod. There's a few ways up, but there's two main routes up Siabod. The one I'm taking today offers a scramble, and it is a proper scramble to the top. And by proper scramble, I mean you will be using your hands and your feet, and there's some exposed areas. And there's another route, which is the route I'll be going down today, and it's what I call the Brennan route. It's on the other side of the mountain, and there's no technicality to that walk at all. It's just a big old slog up the hill. So for me, Siabod's a wonderful mountain for everybody, because if you want to scramble, you can scramble. If you like your history and your abandoned places, then there's plenty of them on the way, and I'll show you them as we're going up. If you just want to get good views, then go up the Brennan route, and you get wonderful views without any technicality. So it's a mountain for everybody for me, Siabod. And if you are struggling to say Siabod, because when we see it written in English, we kind of want to say Siabod, but that's because as English speakers,
we think everything's an English alphabet, but in the Welsh alphabet, when you have an S followed by an I, it gives you a sh noise, the same as an S and a H in English, which is why it's Siabod and not Siabod. I always used to tell people, think of Ali G back in the 90s, Siabod, and then you'll be kind of halfway to saying it correctly. Anyway, here we go, up my all-time favourite mountain. In this image I love so much, I've got a painting of this path with that view in my front room because I absolutely adore it. Because I'm super duper sad, I even have an image of this mountain tattooed on my body, because honestly Siabod really is a very special place, and I don't know why, but I always just feel, well, I do know why. It's because mountain air and exercise are good for you, but I always feel extra good on Siabod. I don't know if, like me, you believe mountains have spirits, but I certainly do. I think they're living things, and this mountain, Siabod, just gives me a lovely, warm, happy feeling of welcoming all the time. I never feel unwelcome here. I always feel embraced and loved by the mountain. Some people feel unloved here. Apparently some people feel a ghostly, spooky presence when they come to Siabod, which apparently is the soul of an old druid who fought the Romans here. If you just heard my phone ring then, I am sorry. You know, you come to a mountain to escape modern day life, and Harry with an Indian accent needs to ring me up to ask me about my internet providings. No escape, no escape. So, once you've gone up this path from the farm, from the Capel Curig start point, your first sort of decision time comes here. You've come to this gate, and yeah, so your choice is either to continue up that path there, which is what we're going to do today, or if you just look into the field just there, you might see the stile there, the ladder stile. The ladder stile will take you up that ridge just in front of me there. So there's no technicality to that route at all, to be honest. So if you want to be on this side with the views, but you don't want the scramble, then that's quite a handy route to take. But what I would say with that route is you miss out on the little abandoned quarrymen's houses that I'll be taking you into shortly. So for me, I don't like that route because you miss out on some of my favourite spots on the hill, and certainly one of my favourite brew spots. But again, just wonderful views, and you can really start to see the shape of Siabod now. Yeah, it's just a beautiful mountain. I really love this mountain. I needed it today, to be honest. You know, I always talk about the benefits for your mental health on a mountain, and if you're feeling stressed, then just get out bloody doors. I mean, I'm stressed out this week. I've got some stuff going on that I don't really want to go into on YouTube. But you know, all I'll say is divorces aren't easy, are they, sometimes, and battling through that this week. So I just needed to clear my head today. I woke up, didn't feel good. You know, I mean, I almost died this morning, thoughts and prayers. I woke up and I've got a touch of man flu. So, you know, if you're a woman watching this, you're probably thinking, you soft sod. If you're a bloke watching this, I'm sure you understand just how much effort it requires when you've got a touch of man flu to get out and do anything, let alone a beautiful mountain. As you clear that little lip, I'm going to flip this camera around. See the first lake on this walk. Jetboil is this first lake, and I find the lakes on Siabod quite interesting because two are lakes and one's a flooded quarry. On one of the lakes, on modern OS maps, doesn't have a name. It's just an unnamed lake. However, because I'm a bit of a geek and a bit of a map nerd, and I like maps, just like looking at maps, I think they're stunning, and I don't even have to know the area. But when I go to charity shops, which I do often because who doesn't like a bargain, I always look for old maps, and I found an old map of this area of Snowdonia. It's a map from the 50s or 60s. Beautiful map. I mean, we've lost some skill as a society, in the sense that even the maps, I'll try and get it out when I get back home and get a picture on this video for you, because it's a lovely map. And like, it's all written in italics and stuff like that, but that map does have a name for this top lake. When I get to it, I'll share that name with you, because it's quite an interesting name, and hopefully there's some Welsh speakers watching this video, because I'm not sure if my translation of the Welsh word is correct. So anyway, it'd be interesting to see what a Welsh speaker who's far more fluent than I am will say about the name. But it's certainly interesting, and for me kind of links in to one of the myths about this mountain, which again I'll share with you when I get to the lake. But here's your first lake, Llynfoel, which is just Lake Moel really, but you change the M to an F. It's called a soft mutation in Welsh. It's a strange thing to get your head around. But yeah, so the Bald Lake, or the Bare Lake, is what this one's called. And it's a bloody beautiful lake this morning. And the temperature, like I said, 7 degrees. The weather forecast said we were going to have 35-mile-an-hour winds. Not yet, we've not. But this side of the mountain, you are very protected. Once we get round on that ridge, I can imagine me having to slip a wind jacket on. You'll see the valley in a minute and you'll understand why. But yeah, first lake, Llynfoel. So, getting a little bit higher now, and so far the path's not difficult. The hardest bit is still that beginning bit as you go past the farmhouse, is your steepest part. That will change shortly, because we have to go up there. As you can see on the slight right, we're going to be going up them little bits. But where we are now is the start of the old quarry, and the old slate quarry. This was called the Rhos Quarry, R-H-O-S, and it first started around about, sometime in the 1800s. There's evidence from quarrying, but it really started in the 1900s, when the whole area, obviously in Snowdonia, exploded for slate mining. This quarry eventually, although it was important locally in Capel and places like that, ultimately got abandoned, simply because it was stuck right between the world's two biggest quarries, one in Blaenau at Llackweth and the other in Bethesda at Penderyn, Penryn, sorry, not Penderyn, Penryn Quarry in Bethesda. So this one got abandoned, but you can still see the old tips of all the disused slate, and just how much of a scar it's left on the landscape. But it's cool, you know, to be able to walk through what I would call sort of social history, really, you know. All right, might not be in our living memory, but granddads and great granddads could well have worked here, and I find it fascinating, I really do. But what I find more fascinating is the way the people who worked here lived. And in just a moment I'm going to take you into one of the old quarrymen's houses, which, as cool as a building it is to sit in now and have a brew, I don't know if I'd fancy living in them. No running water, no electric, no heating but the fire that you could get going. And believe me, it can get pretty bloody cold on Siabod. But yeah, different breed of people, aren't they? Different breed of people. I will get used to this gimbal, I promise you. So thank you for bearing with me. And thank you for subscribing to my channel as well. And if you haven't, please do. I'm pretty new to this YouTubing. I'm enjoying doing it and I want to continue to do it. And obviously I'd love it if people watch my videos. So yeah, like, comment, you know, have you been to Siabod? Which way do you prefer? Have you been into the miners' houses? A lot of people miss them. And I'll show you why in just a second. Ooh, path's a little bit rockier underfoot now, which I'm grateful for, because I know in a minute, or in a few minutes when we get to the next part, I'll be walking around the unnamed lake, which I'm going to name for you, and it's usually a bloody bog. And I forgot my bleeding gaiters. Got too excited with the sunshine. Lured me into a false sense of security. Anyway, have a look at this. So, here we are now. In some of the old quarrymen's houses. Look at these. Absolutely fantastic. Look at these. So I'm going to go through these quarrymen's houses, and what a lot of people do here is to take the path you can see behind me there, to go on the right hand side of these houses. But what I'm going to do, this is where local knowledge comes in, I'm going to skip through this house, excuse me sirs, I'm going to walk through this person's house, and then I'm going to go up this tip, and by tip I mean the old pile of slate and rock that's been left behind from the quarry. And if I can spin around, I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to go up this path instead, and this will lead you to what would have been more houses. And as I'm walking here, just looking to the sides, you can see old foundations, old tips, you know, all this slate deemed not good enough and just put in massive piles. You know, you think our job was hard and we moan about getting up and going to work. Jesus, imagine living on the side of a mountain in a slate house with no electric, no water, and then getting up to come and do a full day in an actual quarry on the side of a mountain in North Wales. That's an hard job, isn't it? Fair play. Different breed back then, weren't they? We've got soft. And I'm not for one suggesting we should go back to some of those poor working conditions, but bloody hell, we should certainly think ourselves grateful that we don't have them anymore. Anyway, here's some more awesome houses. If I just flip this around, look at these buildings here. Just incredible. Absolutely incredible. Let's go and have a look in some of them. But look at the views now. You know, unbelievable. And here we go. Imagine coming home from an hard day's graft, and this is it, where you're coming back to. Old fireplaces there, look. You see them? An old boot. Perhaps a miner's boot from God knows when, who knows. But yeah, but a lot of people don't walk this far around, they just carry on up the path, and actually if you do carry on walking around, you get rewarded with one of my favourite views and favourite brew spots. And I am going to have a brew today. I don't normally stop up a mountain, but I do love this spot, so I'm going to have a brew just here, and in a second I'll show you exactly why. So yeah, look at this old quarryman's house on the side of Siabod. Absolutely one of my all-time favourite places to just sit and have a brew and get out of the wind for a moment, or out of the rain if it was raining, and you can just sit here, and honestly, the uninterrupted views and the peacefulness of it, but also the reminder that people have to live like this. And if you're looking for a brew with a view, then there's not many better than that, let me tell you. Especially when that brew is Yorkshire Tea Gold. Oof, I've gone posh again. So if you're watching this Yorkshire Tea, why don't you sponsor me? I can't afford to keep buying these gold tea bags, and I keep plugging you on YouTube, so come on Yorkshire Tea, put your finger out. So once you leave that village behind, abandoned miners' houses behind, you're going to start going up a little bit of a rocky step, and you're going to come to what was the actual quarry itself, but has since been flooded. So not somewhere I'd recommend for a dip, to be honest. It always freaks me out, the idea of having a wild dip in a flooded quarry, but here it is. Beautiful. So I'm walking up, it's getting windier, and I found someone's cup, so hopefully we'll find them to give it back to them. But as you can see, it's getting windier now, and these views are just getting better and better. But as suspected, now I'm getting to the other side of the hill, that wind's getting quite biting. You've not left a mug, have you? It's not his then. Oh, so as I say, now I've got a little bit higher. You can probably tell by the way the camera's blowing around. The forecast said 35-mile-an-hour winds. It's certainly starting to feel that way. Now I'm coming out of the protection of the sort of bowl of Siabod, and in a second we're going to be making the scramble up to the summit, which is going to be by far the most exposed part of this walk. So it's not cold, as I said, it's only 7 degrees today, but I am sweating walking uphill. Apparently on top today it's -2, so I've got a down jacket as well in my bag for when I get up there, just in case it is that cold. But for now, I just need to get a layer on to keep that wind off me, especially on this scramble. And again, I've said it before, if you want to get a good wind cheater, get one with pit sips, because I've got them open now, and it means I'm not going to sweat too much, even though I've put an extra layer on, because that wind is cold. So yeah, layering up. Always make sure you've got them, because as beautiful as today looks, 7 degrees with a very chilly wind and -2 on top, you know, you soon get cold. So come prepared whenever you're on a hill. So once you get here on Moel Siabod, you come to the final lake, the lake that has got no name. Once you get to this bit, this is when the walk starts proper, really, because up to this point it's a very easy walk. Just in front of me now you can see the ridge, and that's what we're going to be going up in a second, is that ridge there, right to the summit of Siabod. And this is where it's going to get a bit technical. The other thing it's going to get at this point, as if on cue, is it's going to get very, 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 very boggy. Now what I would advise you to do on this part of the walk is stay as close to the right hand side as you can, as close to the edges of the rocks as you can. The closer you get to that water, the wetter ultimately you're going to get. So yeah, you want to stay away from that, really. Now we spoke about the lake, and now on a modern OS map, the lake there just in front of me, it doesn't have any kind of a name. It's just pictured. And I mentioned that I had an old Snowdonia map that I'd been reading, and on that map it's called Llyn Dyweinedd. Now Dyweinedd isn't a word that I'm particularly familiar with, so if you are a Welsh speaker, you know, or siarad Cymraeg, then please leave in the comments what it means, because when I've looked it up, the word, it says infirmity, and that doesn't seem to be any form of translation. I didn't know if it meant infirmary, and perhaps this is where the infirmary was for the miners, but I don't think that existed, because there's no remnants of any sort of building here. So yeah, if you know what Dyweinedd means, then do tell me. But what the other special thing is about this lake is you know, like everywhere in Snowdonia, there's always myths and legends, and one of the myths and legends about this mountain is its working Arthur and his knights are said to be sleeping for when Wales requires them to come back and save us all. So yeah, but anyway, when you're walking on this part, stick as close as you can to the right hand side, otherwise you're going to get very wet. So yeah, stick as close as you can to the right hand side. I'll show you what path I'm walking on. You see this sort of little sheep goat track here, and that's where you want to stay, because we're going to go for that gap just over there, but between here and there is just bog. So stick to this, and I'm not saying you'll stay dry, but you'll not get as minging as you would should you just yomp straight through the middle, because I think the first time I did Siabod on this route, I went straight through the middle and I went straight up to my knees in filth and peat. Excuse me, there's that man flu kicking in. Thoughts and prayers, people, thoughts and prayers. Whew, difficult time. I read somewhere recently and it made me laugh, and I don't mean it seriously, but I saw some meme on Facebook and it did crack me up. It said, what if COVID was just the first time women got man flu, and then they finally realised how serious it was. But yeah, there you go. So honking through this honking mud pile, ultimately to get to that bottom of that ridge, so we can start making our lovely ascent up to there, where when we get there we're going to have a right good brew and some right lovely lunch that I made last night. I've made myself a nice chicken carbonara, nice creamy chicken carbonara, with some tagliatelle. It's all in my Tupperware, ready to warm up on the Jetboil. So I'm looking forward to that. And obviously I've got a little cheeky Kit Kat in my bag, because it's always nice to have a pudding as well after your din-dins. And I'm hoping there's not too many people up there. I mean, it is a Tuesday, it is midweek, it's not school holidays or anything. It's absolutely beautiful today. I have passed maybe 3 or 4 people so far coming up this route, which is unusual, to be honest, because Siabod is a mountain I've done, honestly I couldn't even tell you how many times I've done Siabod. It is my favourite mountain, and as I say, I used to live at the bottom of it, so my daily dog walk was coming up Siabod, so I really love this mountain. But often, many times, I have been up this mountain and honestly and truly been the only bugger on it all day and all night. And it's great, and I've been up it in all sorts of conditions, but the reason I chose to come up Siabod today is purely because the weather forecast was so good. I was tempted to do Wither today because the forecast was so good, and it is midweek, so it would be great views and very little crowds, if anybody. Excuse me, thoughts and prayers, people. Yeah, if anybody, but Snowdon or Wither offers wonderful views. The views from Siabod are far superior, and when you get up there, or when we get up there, you'll understand why. Because I don't think there's a better mountain to offer 360-degree views of the best and biggest mountains in a Ruri. And the other reason I quite like Siabod is it's an interesting mountain in the sense that it's by no means the tallest, as I've already said, but one thing it is the fattest. Oh, big bog. It is the fattest mountain in Northern Europe, and by that I don't mean, you know, she needs to go on a diet or anything. She's a beautiful looking mountain, is our Siabod, but it's got the largest footprint of any freestanding mountain in all of Northern Europe. It is a beast. It's an absolute beast, Siabod. Huge, big, fat footprint. And if you look at a map of Snowdonia, check out, oh, this is boggy. Check out Siabod. If you're looking for a wonderful mountain to walk with less crowds, with less paths, you know, so you kind of have to pick a route a little bit. But yeah, less crowds, better views, a bit more technicality. Siabod's the one. The absolute one for me. I bloody love it. It is indeed a right nice place, let me tell you. I'm going to switch off for a second because I just need to navigate across this filthy little bit, and then we're almost at the start of the ridge, so I'll join you again at the bottom of the ridge. Right, so we're about to start the scramble properly now. Show you what it starts to look like. So no real paths, a little bit of a goat track. We're going to hit this, the sun's out, it's beautiful, but yeah, we're going to hit this ridge here I'm going to start going all the way up now. So I'll video you, well, I'll video me for you for as long as I can until I need the use of both my hands, in which case, as much as I enjoy making a video, I enjoy not falling a lot more. So I will put my camera away, but for now, let's just start on this little scramble now. The good thing about the scramble on Siabod is if you start getting a bit freaked out by it and you're not enjoying it and you find it a little bit too exposed or whatever, then there is a different route you can take in a second. You can bug out, I'll show you where the path is, and you can drop off it and come around a different way, which I'll show you in just a second. So, whoa, almost. Yeah, so I'm going up the ridge now, or the spine of the ridge. You can see the main ridge just to my right there. I've dropped off it because the wind was, oh, almost went. The wind was really, really strong up there and I was being battered. So I've come down onto the left of the ridge slightly, just to get me out of that bloody wind. Nobody wants to get blown off a ridge, do they? So I've come down slightly, and if ridges make you nervous, then this path is much easier. And the views behind me now, you've got all of Dolwyfellen and Dolwyfellen Castle and all the Moel winds going over to Blaen y Festiniog. Just incredible. And the path in front of me, we're getting very close to where we need to be. So let's press on. So I'm walking up Siabod, and there's the first bumblebee I've seen of summer floating around my head. Well, the first bumblebee of spring, it's nice to see, all the way up here. Croeso ar ben Moel Siabod. So welcome to the top of a very windy Moel Siabod. Oof, proper windy. I think we finally found those 35-mile-an-hour winds. Behind me you should be able to see Rhos, Tryfan, the Carnethau, ag heddiw mae hi'n edrych yn harth iawn. So today it's all looking rather beautiful, but here we are. There's the trig on a very, very, very gwyntog iawn ar ben Siabod. So it's very windy on top of Moel Siabod today. But here we are at the summit, and the views are just unreal. So behind me you can see the Glidderau with Tryfan poking out. Beyond Tryfan you can then see Rhos and all the peaks that make up the horseshoe of it. If I keep turning around, you may be able to see some of the Moel winds, Llyn Trawsfynydd, where the nuclear power plant is that we went to the other day. And then also you've got all the Moel winds, and even going all the way back down to the coast at Porthmadog and Bermo, my home. So yeah, welcome to the top of Moel Siabod, my absolutely favourite mountain in all of Eryri. And it's nice to see some people up here today, and we've timed it well because they're all now leaving the shelter, which is just there, so we can get a brew. So yeah, Let's go and have a brew and get out this wind because it's damn cold. Well, hello everybody, Dan here at Right Nice Places. I'm on the top of Moel Siabod, Bryn Moel Siabod, you know, Varchoff, Munif, my favourite mountain. And I've met a right nice person in a right nice place today, which is unusual. I've met a chap called Jason. Here he is.
Hello there.
Hello, and he's all the way from Colorado climbing Moel Siabod today. So how cool is that?
Yeah.
This is why you should get outside and meet mountains. Nice to meet you, dude.
Thank you.
So yeah, get outdoors. You never know who you're going to meet. It's a beautiful thing for your physical health and your mental health. Okay, so after having my awesome dinner on the old Jetboil, me and my new American friend from Colorado, who's just been telling me about real mountains rather than these little ones we have in Wales, and we're going to head down now. We're going to go down together, and I'm going to go down a different route than what I came up. So this is a route that I would call Placer Brennan, and like I mentioned on the way up, if you don't want to do scrambling and you don't want anything exposed, then go up and down the Placer Brennan route, and it's much easier. But when you leave the summit, you've got this wonderful boulder field to cross, ankle breaking territory, so be careful. My god, that wind is cold up here now, really cold. It really is. Look at this, I've got a partner today. I love it. Oh, the power of mountains, people. You never know who you're going to meet. Oh. But yeah, I'm going to go because if I'm honest, my hands are bloody freezing and I don't want to carry on filming this bit because I want to concentrate on my feet. But in a few minutes we're going to be on some wonderful parts where I can show you some more views, but I'll quickly just show you now all the Carneddau in front of us there, the Glideri, and look at mighty Trivan, looking absolutely splendid today in the sunshine. Woof! Here we go. Anyway, that's it. As Jaden just said, the peak in front of us there, that's the peak that we could see from the bottom that many people think is the summit of Siabod. But as you can now see behind me, it's a bloody fake summit, the rascal.
That's true. I did think the same thing coming up here. I was like, is that it?
Yeah.
And then I talked to a fella and he said, no, you got to go around, follow that path. It'll take you to the top.
As you come down Snowdon now, one of my favourite views is this one, Llynau Mumba, right at the bottom of us there. And this is the walk we're going to take now. So this was the path I was talking about earlier. If you don't want technicality, then just check this route out. Look how easy that is. You can see the path going off into the distance. And if you came up this way, all the views of Llynau Mumba, the Carneddau, Trivan, the Glideri, and of course the mighty Wither. So perfect route if you just want to get up a hill and don't want to feel like you're going to die at any point. Whew. So me and my new friend, my new colonial cousin friend Jason, are making our way down.
Hello, everybody.
Look at that, Colorado. I think that's brilliant. We've added a little bit of glamour, a bit of Americanization to the channel today. But I tell you what, on the way up I kept saying the weather forecast was wrong and there's no wind. The bloody is coming down, let me tell you. It is ice cold, that wind today. And this is why, folks, regardless of the weather at the bottom of a mountain, remember, on average it's 6 or 7 degrees colder at the top. So make sure you've got your layers, your hats, your gloves, your bits and your bobs, because if you get into trouble and you need mountain rescue to come and get you, you're going to be stuck here on average for 8 hours. Woof, that'd be a long time sat in this cold without a brew, let me tell you. So yeah, don't be a wally.
In Colorado, you got to watch out for that sun, so bring sunscreen.
Yeah, sunscreen in Colorado, not quite necessarily needed in a Ruri, unfortunately. Bob hats only. Oh, right, so that's me pretty much down Siabod. I'm still with my lovely new friend Jason there. We've been enjoying Siabod together and talking all things American and British and comparing. It's been quite an interesting walk, to be honest. Now, behind me you can see this is a proper forestry track, and it stays like this now all the way down through the forest and back to the main road at Bryn car park, which is where I parked the car, and the postcode will be in the description. But yeah, like I said earlier, if you don't want a scramble, you don't want technicality, fear, anything like that, then do this route up. Start at Plaza Brennan, which is the mountain climbing school in Capel, Curig, and follow the path. There's a little bit in the centre where you have to use your eyes, but it's a path, man. It's a slog, but it's a path. But the views, spectacular. But anyway, I'll speak to you when we're back at the car. This is the path all the way now. Bye from me. So, this is goodbye to Jason. I've given him a lift to where he's staying tonight. He's staying at the Penny Gurrid, PYG, at the bottom of Snowdon, which is what the pig track's named after. Really cool place. And that's where Jason's staying tonight. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, thank you very much.
It's been really awesome, man. Thank you for telling me everything.
Take care, everybody.
Cheers, man. Well, thank you for joining me today on my beautiful adventure at Moel Siabod. And what an adventure it was today. You know, it's my favourite mountain. I got to share it with you guys. Awesome weather, amazing views, and got to meet, you know, somebody I never thought I'd be meeting today, which was an American chap called Jason. And it's quite strange, really, because my videos seem to be getting a bit of an American sort of link at the minute. My first long distance subscriber was Joan in Pennsylvania, so hello. And then, you know, I've had man flu, thoughts and prayers, guys, thoughts and prayers. You know, I've had comments today on one of my Cadorigerous videos. It's the Mile High City. It escapes my mind now what it's actually called. Leave it in the comments. But he was saying, you know, they live at 5,000 feet, so our mountains to be 2.5 or nearly 3,000 seems bizarre to them. And then today, met a chap all the way from America as well, from Colorado. And what a pleasant chap he was. He was an ex-Marine, really interesting to chat to. Had a really good chat. He's a veteran, so fair play to him. And we had a lovely walk down, and at the end of it, I took him back to a hotel called the Penny Gurrid, which I happen to know the guys who run it, and it's a wonderful place. Check it out. Historic pub and inn right at the foot of Snowdon, and potentially where the pig track gets its name from, the Penny Gurrid, the PYG. So, yeah, great day, really nice. And of course, now I've ended it on the beach because I needed to get Maxie in the video, so there he is behind me. But yeah, thanks for stopping by. I've been down at right nice places. Like, subscribe, tick the bell, and all that kind of stuff. See you soon.